Welcome to Deep Thought. Be careful of distractions. You got to be careful of it because, I touched on, the distractions that can come when you're trying to think clearer. But the reality is in life, it's hard to stay on path. Something's always coming your way. Indeed, we actually living in a social system where we get nothing but distractions. It could be something as small as just you scrolling through some social media feed and you getting commercials. You getting advertisements for something. That can be a distraction. Or let's talk about the social media thing. A lot of it is distraction. You trying to like do something, but then all of a sudden you might have just looked at one clip, one reel of something crazy going on, then you get 15 more. Then you caught up into it. Or you look at a lot of celebrity gossip and stuff. Those are distractions. Indeed, a lot of entertainment is mainly to distract the masses from really thinking about stuff. And that's like one level. How many of us have been in social circles and you get that one person who is very distracting? Like they revel in it. They see you trying to do something, but they feel like they want to distract you. I'm going to tell a story. I'll never forget. It was, I think it was 2001. Yeah, it was 2001. And I was at the Harlem Book Fair selling copies of my book, Nice Guys and Players. And I never forget this one guy came up and he asked about the book and I told him about it. But then he started saying, well, I'm not in it. And I just said, well, sir, I don't know you, but I'm not in it. Well, I just talk in general terms. I don't know. I'm not in it. And he was getting to the point, me and him were close to coming to blows because he was intentionally being disagreeable. And the thing was, it was interesting with that because when he actually saw he got me hot. He said, you won't be able to sell any more books. And I was hot for about good 10 minutes, but it actually did good. I actually connected with a bookstore and a major book distributor in that moment during that day. But for 10 minutes, he had me upset. Now, I thought about that. I was like, what was the point of that? Why would you go up to somebody and try to distract them? But you have some people like that. But you got to be careful of that. You got to be careful of the people. You got to be careful of what's in the news, the media. Like, let me use the news, for example. A lot of it is just distraction. A lot of it is not telling you anything that is of any real value. It really is. And a lot of shit is just distraction. They not tell, they might have, you guys go to specialized stations to talk about the economy, which should be the most important thing. Or they have some people doing some stupid stuff. Even some politicians doing some stuff. Don't get me started on politicians, regardless of which side of the aisle they're on. But all this focus on these things, but then you got some major things happening nobody will talk about. That's one thing I found. And this is just a general thing. Whenever you hear anything talked about in the news, I don't care what it is, you got to really search and dig for what's not being talked about. Like if you got connected, following any social media platforms where they be getting, shall we say, alternate news or stuff people ain't talk, pay attention. Just pay attention to it. Those can be fake me out too, but still, because I would say in general, if certain theys have an agenda, they'll distract you from it. Shoot, politicians do that a lot anyway. There's a lot of bills on so many levels, city level, state level, national level, international level, whatever, that are passed. But if you look at what's going on, something else was in the news at the time to distract you from paying attention to it. That happens a lot. People don't realize that. A lot of little bills, and you ain't thinking about it until you start seeing the effects of it. But that's a distraction. Look, I'm going to tell you what. Understand something. You have to have a plan going through life. You have to know what you need to do. And you can't be distracted. You got to be very careful. Sometimes you might have to turn off that TV, even entertainment movies. There's a lot of entertainment out here that is really just propaganda. There's a lot of entertainment. In fact, you can get an idea of what's coming or what's being talked about just by watching the propaganda. I'll give you one. It was relatively benign, but I was peeping the propaganda from it. It was back in the day when, Jesse Jackson got that wonderful idea about saying, hey, we're African Americans. And I was like, oh, okay. But then there was a Cosby episode where they emphasized it. I was like, yeah, I see. I see. That was relatively benign, but then there's some other stuff not so benign. Always pay attention. Stay on the path. Do not get distracted. Because I'm going to tell you what, with distractions, there's many people who could have a level of success in life, but they're too distracted. It is usually by little things. Or people might have an idea to write that book or study for some certification, get an education to do something great, but they're distracted. They are distracted. And I've been there before. That's how I know about it. And that's how I know about it, because I think about some times that I should have been using doing something else, but I'm busy on some message boards talking trash. That's a distraction. It's like, hold up, this wasn't doing me any good at all. Distraction. Like I said, I've been there. So I know it. We all can get it. I would say this, they're going to be there, but we got to make sure we're not distracted out of what we feel like is our mission in life and what we're supposed to do. And then we can't be distracted from what's happening overall in society. Like I said, you get a lot of stuff, news, even entertainment shows that distract you from some stuff really going on, from some stuff that can really affect you. And they'll have the news about it. They'll put it in the news still, be on page 6 or buried on that website, however you do it, but nobody will talk about it, but everybody else worried about some stuff happening at some gathering of a bunch of people. Be careful of that. Always be careful, and not to say something like isn't happening at those places, but then what else is happening? You got to keep your eyes on the prize, and you got to keep focused. That's a very important thing. That's something that you always have to do. You always got to be careful of it. You got to be that way to really think clearly about everything happening. Oh, that clear thinking thing again. Wow. Yeah, but people get distracted from thinking clear. And I'll just say the theys, whether metaphysical or economical, financial, political, want you to stay distracted, because then you can't see what's really being done. I want you to think about that and think on what I said, okay? Anyway, keep rising, everyone. And I haven't said this in a while, but it's very appropriate for this video and this week of videos. Think on this. Peace and blessings, everyone.